I'm a property owner in Fairmont. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I joked to Carl a couple weeks ago at our Fairmont Town Council hearing that I can't believe the government is here past 8 o'clock. I'm used to them shutting down at 4. So now I have to say thank you for coming out, and the government is here working on a Saturday when even private sector capitalists are shut down. I think that a lot of what has been said has been accurate, but let me step back and look at the big picture. At the end of our Fairmont Town Council hearing, which is about roughly 20 miles west of here, they said, well, who supports all these changes? Only one hand came up. So consider what some of the folks have said here, that I think doing nothing in many of these cases is still an option. My biggest concern here today is not the zoning per se, it is the land use policy, which I think has substantial and real inconsistencies with the zoning policy. You are entering the solar capital of the world, as they're now putting it. I'm not here to address that policy, but it's more about the RL10 and RL20 land use designations in the Far East and the Far West. So I won't speak specifically about the takings clauses of the U.S. Constitution, Amendment 5, or the California Constitution, Article 1, Section 19. But I would like to speak with some words that I think should be in everyone's minds. And also, the article that came out this week from down the street at the Antelope Valley Press, if you have not read that article, it's a great article. I think everyone sitting up here today should read it. In 1922, Justice Holmes wrote for the United States Supreme Court, quote, "Government hardly could go on if to some extent values incident to property could not be diminished without paying for every such change in the general law. As long recognized, some values are enjoyed under an implied limitation and must yield to the police power, but obviously that implied limitation must have its limits or the contract and due process clauses are gone."
I'm sorry, I have to ask that you sum up.
One fact for consideration in determining such limits is the extent of the diminution. When it reaches a certain magnitude, in most, if not all cases, there must be an exercise of eminent domain and compensation to sustain the act. So the question depends upon the particular facts. The greatest weight is given to the judgment of the legislature, but it is always open to interested parties to contend that the legislature has gone beyond its constitutional power. 2 more sentences. On page 215 of that same opinion, which was Pennsylvania Cole versus Mahan, quote, "The general rule, at least while property may be regulated to a certain extent, if regulation goes too far, it will be recognized as a taking." Final sentence, "We are in danger of forgetting that a strong public desire to improve the public condition is not enough to warrant achieving the desire by a shorter cut than the constitutional way of paying for that change."
Thank you.